What's going on, my fellow rock and rollers? Don't forget to smash the bell notification icon to be notified every time I put out a new video on my channel. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, Skid Row frontman Sebastian Bach seemed to not only be one of the most popular frontmen in rock and roll, but also a poster boy for controversy. What did he do? Stay tuned to find out. In 1989, Skid Row was on tour opening for Aerosmith following the release of their self-titled debut record. At a December 27 show in Springfield, Massachusetts, MTV aired footage of Bach being struck by a bottle thrown from the audience. The clip showed Bach picking up the bottle, throwing it back into the audience, and jumping into the group and fighting a fan. A fan who attended the show shot the performance and would send his bootleg clip to MTV while remaining anonymous. Here's a clip of the incident.
Who the f*** did that, man? Who the f*** did that? There's nothing in it.
That Bach would throw into the audience would strike a 17-year-old girl in the face. When Bach leapt into the audience, he apparently landed on the same girl and kicked another fan in the chin before being dragged back on stage by his roadies. Bach would be arrested following the show and charged with 2 counts of assault and battery, 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon, and 1 count of mayhem. And he was freed on $10,000 bail with a trial date set for May 15th. The injured girl was treated for severe facial cuts and bruises, according to the LA Times, who published an article in 1990 on the incident. Immediately following the incident, Bach was asked if he apologized to the girl, with the band's manager Doc McGee saying the following: "Sebastian hasn't talked with her yet, but he feels very badly and wants to see that she is taken care of. He'd like to meet her and make sure she's alright," he'd say. Following his court appearance in Springfield, MTV sent a reporter to interview fans who waited outside of the courthouse to give their opinions on the matter, and they revealed how a bet gone wrong was likely to blame for the whole bottle incident, as you can see here.
He should go to jail or nothing or get arrested. That's not right. It's not his fault for somebody that threw the bottle and hit him in the head with it.
Well, I guess he could have dealt it differently, but I know if it was me, I would have went right after him too.
If they want to be just, they should get the guy who threw the bottle.
And several people we spoke with said that bottle was thrown as the result of a bet.
They're standing next to us. They're like, "Oh, I bet you can't hit Sebastian Bach. I'll bet you $50 you won't be able to hit him with the bottle." And then they threw it. And
Fans say that's negligent, and indications are Sebastian's lawyers will say the same. Civic Center spokesman Mike Graney says the arena's policy of not checking for bottles is a result of another court decision.
There was a suit brought against the city, I think 10 years ago, challenging the city's right to search on civil rights grounds. There was an agreement reached in that suit, and that agreement governs our policies and what we can and cannot do. I think there's some sense on several people that we think that should be modified, but as it stands right now, there's a federal court decree that says we can do this and we can't do some other things. We follow that decree.
So are you more, as far as you know, restricted than, say, other cities and other venues in other cities?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
In 1991, Bach would sit down with MTV's Kurt Loder to talk about the incident, and here's what he had to say about it.
You know, all this, like, that was just an emotional reaction at the time, you know, because at the time I didn't have any distinction between playing an arena and playing CBGBs. Yeah. And if I was playing CBGBs and I did that, Kurt Loder wouldn't have been talking about it on MTV, you know, because it didn't matter. But if you know, you can't do that. You can't jump in there and kick somebody's ass, you know. I'm not going to do it again. No. If it happens again, I'll just, like, you know, walk off the stage. I mean, I'm on probation right now for physical assault, and if I punch, you know, one more person, that's it. No more Skid Row, you know. So somehow I really don't think that's worth it. Yeah. You know.
So you're reining yourself in.
Control your demons tour. That's what I call this. Control your demons. Come out, you know, and get out, get down, boy, you know.
Shot.
10 years after the incident happened, Bach would reveal during an interview with a Hartford newspaper that the incident still haunts him, saying it won't go away. They just played it again on MTV last weekend in some sort of retrospective. 10 years later, they're still firing it up. Unbelievable. I just want to say I'm very, very sorry for what happened. It was a stupid thing to do. It was a horrible incident, Bach would say. And according to Bach, he paid dearly for the momentary act of rage, saying there was a large cash settlement, $500,000 range. It basically wiped me out. Now what's funny about this whole incident is that Skid Row, Bach, and Aerosmith would come through Springfield once again a few weeks after the incident. He would reveal to the Hartford publication how he was nervous returning to the city. I came out for my first tune wearing a steel welding mask. I was really nervous. They actually had X-ray metal detector systems for that show. They don't bring those out too much. And as I was waiting to go out on stage, you know, in the bowels of these arenas, there's all this stuff lying around. I saw this welding mask there as I was going on. I said, man, give me that. So for the whole first song, I sang with that on. It got a little hot though, and I took it off, he'd say. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe, and leave your suggestions for future topics down below. Take care.